What if the thing you have been grieving was not the end of the story, but the setup for the greatest moment you have ever witnessed? What if the tomb you have been sitting outside of, heartbroken and hopeless, was never going to stay sealed? That is the question Matthew 28 answers. And the answer changes everything. Not just for two women on a Sunday morning over 2,000 years ago. For you, right now, today. At first light of the dawn of Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene and Mary, mother of Jesus, went to look at his tomb. They weren't going with expectation. They weren't going with hope. They were going the way we go to visit the ones we miss, the ones we love, to be near something we lost, to grieve what we cannot change. They had watched him pass. They had watched him be placed in the tomb. They had stayed when everyone else left. And now, in the early morning dark, they came because they didn't know where else to go. Have you ever been there? Standing at the place where your hope was buried, not because you expected anything, but because you couldn't stay away? That faithful, heartbroken presence is exactly where God meets people with the news that rewrites everything. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake. Because an angel descended from heaven, came and rolled back the stone, and sat on it. With calm authority, he rolled away this great stone, as the wind scatters the leaves, and to him, his feat was unremarkable. His appearance was like lightning, his clothing white as snow. And the guards, the Roman soldiers posted to prevent all disruption, shook with fear and became as humbled men before the truth. The guards became as dead men, while the man inside became very much alive. God has always had a way of reversing the expected order of things. And when the angel spoke, not to the soldiers, to the women, he looked at the people who had come in grief and said, "Do not be afraid." It is the most repeated command in all of Scripture. Do not be afraid. And it is almost always spoken at the exact moment when fear makes the most sense. God doesn't tell you not to be afraid when there is nothing frightening happening. He tells you not to be afraid when the ground is shaking. When an angel sits on a stone and everything you thought you understood about the world is dismantled right in front of you. And when the angel said, "I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen," just as he said. Those three quiet words held the enormity of his power. He told you this was coming. He said it plainly. And now the empty tomb is the confirmation of a promise made, come to fulfillment. Come and see the place where he lay. The angel invited them to look, to check, to see for themselves that the power of the truth evidence that matched his promise. Faith is not afraid of the truth. It welcomes it. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Go quickly. There is an urgency to resurrection news. It is not the kind of thing you sit on. It is not the kind of thing you process privately and maybe mention later. It demands movement. It demands intent. It commands action. So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid and yet filled with great joy. That combination is worth sitting with. Afraid and filled with great joy. Both at the same time. Because genuine encounters with God's power are rarely tidy emotional experiences. They shake you and thrill you simultaneously. They leave you running before you have fully understood what just happened. And as they were on their way to tell the disciples, Jesus met them. Not in the temple, not in a throne room, on a road, in the middle of their errand. In the ordinary act of them doing what was asked of them, Jesus showed up. They came to him, took hold of his feet, and honored him. The first response to the risen Jesus was love and affection, not questions, not demands for explanation, adoration. And Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." His brothers, not followers, not my students, not the men who lost their courage when the crowd arrived. My brothers. The resurrection brought renewed meaning to our language. The events of Friday did not define how Jesus described the disciples on Sunday. He called them brothers, because grace always has the final word on identity. Now let this passage speak into the places where you have buried your hope and walked away grieving. Most of us have a tomb we visit, a dream that died, a relationship that ended, a version of the future we planned that got sealed behind a stone, and we stopped expecting anything from it. We go back to it sometimes, not with hope, just to be near what we lost, just to grieve what we cannot change. And we sit outside it in the early morning of our faith, waiting for nothing in particular. This passage says this: The tomb you are sitting outside of is worth a second look, because the God who rolled away that stone on Sunday morning has not retired from rolling away the stones that block your path. He is still in the habit of showing up at sealed places and opening them, still in the habit of meeting grieving people at the graveside and saying, "He is not here. Look again. The story isn't over." The angel didn't go to the powerful. He didn't go to the religious leaders responsible for the crucifixion. He went to two women who showed up in the dark with broken hearts and nowhere else to be. Your faithfulness in grief is not invisible. You showing up when you have no expectation left is always seen. And God has a history of choosing exactly those moments to roll your stone away. Notice that Jesus met the women while they were on their way, while they were moving, while they were doing the last thing they were asked to do, even though they didn't fully understand it yet. Duty is one of the most powerful postures of faith. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start moving. Just start moving. Jesus tends to meet people on the road, not in the waiting room. And those disciples he called brothers. The ones who ran, the ones who denied him, the ones who hid behind locked doors while the women went to the tomb. They were never written off. They were sent for. If you've run from something God called you to, if you have hidden behind a locked door because Friday was too much, if you scattered when the crowd arrived, you are still being sent for. Jesus is not standing at the empty tomb cataloging our failures. He is sending word ahead to meet you on the road when you are ready. He is already going ahead of you to that next place. He hasn't given up on where this is going. The resurrection is not just a promise to believe, it is a reality to walk inside of. It means that nothing God has spoken in your life can be permanently buried. It means sealed is not the same as finished. It means that the Friday you are standing in right now is not the final chapter. Sunday is already written. It was written before the foundation of the world. And it is coming for your tomb too. Do not be afraid. Go quickly. Tell someone. Because news of the resurrection was never meant to be kept to yourself. It was meant to be carried. Run to the people who most need to hear it. If this reached something real in you today, share it with someone who is sitting outside their own tomb, grieving what they believe is gone. Tell them the stone has been moved. Tell them he is not there. Go find him. Tell them to go quickly because he is going ahead of them, and there is still so much of your story left to live. And subscribe if you haven't already. Every week, we open up moments like this one, moments that remind you that God on Sunday mornings is the same God who is walking with you through every day of your life, especially on your darkest Fridays. From everyone here at Grace and Truth, peace be with you, and thank you for watching.